Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to talk about commercialization of intellectual property. So this is our group members. I am Hussein Ghazi with my friends Muhammad Samir, Muhammad Hussein, Muhammad Sayyid, and Muhammad Abdul Rahman. So first one is the introduction. Commercialization is the process of bringing new products or service to market. Commercialization of intellectual property can be used to generate a profit and ensure a fixed source of revenue. There are several methods of commercialization intellectual property, such as licensing, assignment, spin-off, and joint venture. So the first method is joint venture. So joint venture, a contract between two or more parties who want to do business together for a period of time by transferring the technology and knowledge between each other. The companies execute a joint venture for a particular business with a vision to incorporate long-term cooperation between the parties. Joint venture should include details such as venture members, member responsibilities, venture goals, as well as the start and end date. The main reason why managers claim to be interested in joint venture are the access to new market and the new resources. Increasing the revenues and reducing the cost are the goals that the joint venture parties try to achieve. So what is the advantages and disadvantages of joint venture? The advantages are access to new markets and distribution networks, helping new business to grow faster, increase the productivity and generating greater profits, sharing of risks and costs with a partner, access to new knowledge and expertise, access to greater resources, for example, technology and finance. And the disadvantages are flexibility can be restricted, equal involvement is impossible, clash of cultures, a lot of research and planning are necessary, and lack of clear communication. So examples of joint venture. The first one is the cooperation between Sony and Ericsson. Sony Ericsson is a joint venture between Sony and the Swedish company Ericsson, which started in 2001 and ended in 2012. Sony took care of the production of the phones while Ericsson provided the knowledge for the phones. The second example is the Dow Corning. The Dow Corning is the Dow Chemical Company is one of the top 3 chemical manufacturers in the world, while Corning is a famous American manufacturer of glass. In 1942, both companies formed an equally owned joint venture named Dow Corning. The companies produce chemical products, and their joint venture is still valid until today. So now my friend is going to explain about the second one.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Muhammad Samir. I will talk about licensing. What is licensing? Licensing is a way of commercialization that gives the owner of an IP the rights, the owner of an IP rights the option to share these rights with any other individual. And by sharing these rights, the other individuals will be able to use it for either displaying or distributing it, selling it, and modifying it. But the individual that got these rights have to pay for the owner of these rights. There are some guiding factors for the licensing, which are ownership rights and the limitations, and the licensing should have a period and the obligation of parties, and etc. The last thing is the advantages and disadvantages of licensing. The advantages are the restrictions on rights allowance and restoration of IP rights when the licensing period expires. The disadvantages are returned amounts that might get be reduced, the royalties, and the competition with the licensee that took the rights from the owner. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm Muhammad Al-Sayed. I'm going to talk about commercialization of intellectual property by assignment. Commercialization of intellectual property by assignment is the process of IPR owner transfer all or any part of his rights. The owner of IPR assigns the right to use IPR, which is intellectual property, to a certain organization who will develop, produce, and market the product or service. Commercialization of intellectual property by assignment In this process, the reward of the owner is limited to the amount of royalty he gets from the organization. The owner is not concerned about the profits or losses owned by organization. His amount of royalty is fixed. The major problem around this structure is to fix the amount of royalty. An example, if you are an author of novel and you have the rights, the copyrights on it, you have assigned the copyright to the publisher at 20 ringgit per copy, which you don't like. It doesn't matter with you whether they pay or not, but every copy of the novel published, you're going to get 20 ringgit for each produced for transferring the right of publishing to them. This is a simple example of commercialization of intellectual property by assignment. That's all for me. Thank you.
A spin-off. The spin-off definition is the creation of an independent company through a sale of distribution of new shares of an existing business or division of a parent company. When spin-off happens, spin-off is created in the firm of university are usually established in the event that there is no existence of the company to conduct a significant breakthrough in a given sphere. And why spin-off? If a given university team has a promising research product successfully transferred to the market introduction, spin-off allows investors to buy shares in more specific type of business that fits their investment objectives. The spin-off opportunities. Spin-off may be an optional way to commercialization of licensing if it's not possible. Research product if basis of an IP clear. Opportunities to create many products and application, and it's therefore potentially extremely valuable. IP has a capacity to ensure that additional efforts and possible risk will have returns. An example, corporation create a spin-off by distribution 100% of its ownership interest in that business unit as a stock divided to existing shareholders. It can also offer existing shareholders a discount to exchange their shares in the pattern company for share of the spin-off. For example, if an investor could exchange $100 of pattern stock for $110 of spin-off stock, spin-offs tend to increase return of shareholders because of the newly independent companies can better focus on their specific products or services. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. The benefits of commercialization of intellectual property, generating a source of revenue for the owner is the aim of the owners of the intellectual property. It can help the owners to get profit and trade their idea. IP protection can reduce the risk of commercialization by deterring competitor from using the product. IP protection can come from keeping the IP a secret. An example of this is Coca-Cola using trade secret to keep its formula from becoming public. Next slide. Startups need to develop an intellectual property strategy in order to commercialization and monetize it. The law of trading of an intellectual property is not well understood. High cost for the commercialization. Next slide. Thank you very much.